Hey guys, what's up? It's Winnie here. Today I have an Amazon video for you because I am currently obsessed with watching all of the Amazon videos here on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same, but I shop so much on Amazon, it's ridiculous. The less I have to leave my house and interact with other human beings, the better. Anything and everything possible I buy on Amazon. I shop for my apartment, my dogs, clothing, my business, my equipment, and I plan on making a separate video of my top Amazon buys or whatever because I have so many to share with you guys. But today in specific, we are going to be talking about Amazon's best-selling eyeshadow palette. This palette has 4.5 stars out of 5 and over 5,000 reviews. Actually, specifically, it has 5,982 reviews. It does come in 3 different shades, so those are all combined. But this one in specific, which is the Nude Exposed palette, has the highest number of ratings and stars. The look I'm wearing right now on my eyes is actually using the eyeshadow. Now let's jump into swatching and playing with the eyeshadows to see how they actually perform. So here's how it came to me. This is what it looks like. I just got it today, and this was inside one of their bubble mailers that's blue and white. Comes inside a little Ziploc with some more bubble wrap to give it some extra padding. The palette itself is actually a little smaller than I expected. It's about the size of my hand. So it's by Lamora, I think it's pronounced, and again I got the Exposed Nudes eyeshadow palette. It comes with a sleeve. I'm gonna take that off. This is my first look at the palette, and it comes with this little protective little film. From first glance, it actually really reminds me of the Naked 3 palette, I think. Very similar, pinky mauve neutral tones. So there are 16 total eyeshadows inside the palette, and underneath each eyeshadow are the corresponding names. It looks like there's a couple mattes, just the 2 mattes here, and then the rest are shimmer eyeshadows. The back of the palette will have your ingredients, some website information, and information on the palette. There is a warning at the bottom. It says avoid direct contact with eyes. I don't really understand that because it's an eyeshadow palette made for your eyes. Just try not to get it inside your eyes. I don't know. So first I'm gonna quickly do a swatch of each eyeshadow in the palette to give you guys a good look of the shades. Now we all know that finger swatches are very different to when they're actually applied to your eyes using a brush and whatnot. So we're just doing these swatches just to get a look of each shade. I'm gonna swatch these and read them to you 4 at a time just because it's awkward trying to do my thumb. So starting from my pointer finger, this is Cream, which is the matte shade. Second is Pearly, then we have Champagne, and Mauve is on my pinky. And then we have Comfort, Rust, Bronze, and Wood. We have Metal, Idol, Satin, and Plum. We have Wish, Cameo, Espresso, which is the second matte, and Luxury is last. So far, all of these swatches look pretty good, but like I said, sometimes eyeshadows perform differently when you're applying it to the eyes with a brush. So now let's go ahead and create a look. And there's not really a good transition shade besides the lightest shade, which is matte, because all of the other ones are shimmery, but we're just gonna have to try to use a shimmer as a transition today. First, I'm gonna pick up Cream and lay that down all over my lid. On my eyes, I just have a little bit of concealer to use as my eyeshadow base today. So I'm gonna just put this color all over my lids. It is kind of hard to see it because it's a very pale, nudie pink. Next, I'm gonna take one of these shimmer shades and use that as my transition, and I think I'm gonna go for Comfort, which is the shade right here. Just wanna show you guys that there is quite a bit of fallout when you go to pick up these shadows. So this is Comfort as my transition. I feel like I'm having a hard time getting it to show up, even though I've picked up more and more product, at least 4 times now. Yeah, it's just barely showing up, so I feel like I really gotta pack on a lot of shadow on my brush and blend it out. comfort was a little sheer for me, but you can see a little bit of the color on the lid, and it's fine because it's a transition, so we're gonna move on. Next, I'm gonna pick up Rust, which is right next to Comfort. This is like a pinky mauve shade, and I'm gonna put that all over the lid. Really get it on the brush. I'm just gonna pat it on my lid. What? Okay. Okay, I'm not really seeing this one. This one's a little powdery too. Really gotta pack this baby on. It's definitely on my brush. You can see the shadow on there. Okay, next we're gonna go for Plum, which is on the bottom here. It's another shimmer shade. It's a deeper, plummy burgundy shade, so we're gonna see if that shows up better. It's definitely on the brush. I don't see a lot of color. This is making me very sad. And I think I'm getting it in my eye. I'm not supposed to be doing that. Okay, it's showing up like a little bit more than Rust. You can compare on this side, but it's still like, it definitely doesn't look like what it does in the pan. Okay, next I'm gonna pick up Espresso, which is the other matte shade, and it's a dark brown. I'm gonna use that to define my crease. Let's see if this is the saving grace. It is powdery, but I see much more color because I'm going in very lightly. I think the mattes might be a little bit better performing in this palette, but there's only 2 of them. This brown definitely shows up the best out of all of these eyeshadows without like having to go in and pick up a ton of product. Last but not least, just for the sake of trying it out with my fingers and seeing if the shadows work a little bit differently that way, I'm gonna pick up Satin here, and I'm just going to blend it with my finger on my lid. So let's see how this looks. Pat it on like so. Yeah, you can barely see it. I mean, it's there, it's just like very, 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 very subtle. Just gonna finish off this look with bronze on my lash line. Bronze is pretty. It is sheer, but it's pretty. It's definitely in my eye, so hopefully my eyeballs don't fall out. And then with a flat definer brush, I'm gonna pick up Espresso, and I'm just gonna use this to line my top and bottom lash line. It's in my eye. I'm gonna finish off the look with some mascara and some lashes, and I will be right back with my final thoughts. So here's the final look using the palette. I did also pop a little bit of the shade Champagne on my inner corners. It's very subtle, but I think honestly overall this whole eye look is just very subtle. I think it just is a very subtle eyeshadow palette. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that a lot of people do like very subtle neutral looks, and this will give you that exactly. The only shade that you can really see on my eyes is Espresso and Plum, which are actually the 2 darkest shades in this palette. I think that this palette is just okay. I had really, really, really high hopes for it, especially with all of the rave reviews under this product. I was just expecting a little bit more from it. It's definitely not the worst palette on earth. It does give you some color payoff, and like I said, some people might like a more softer, more subtle eyeshadow look, but I feel like I just had to dig a little bit too hard to get a little bit of color payoff on my lids. I think it's a good price point, especially because you do get 16 eyeshadows in this palette, and especially if you're someone who's just getting into palette and you're playing around with colors, this is a great option because it is nice and neutral and it's very soft. Just for me personally, after after having used and tried many different eyeshadow formulas and brands, I kind of know what I like, and I'm just a little bit more picky. And for some reason, the two matte shades, which is Espresso and Cream, that I used on my eyes, I feel like those were the most easy to apply and blend. With that said, there are actually two other colors in this palette. One is a nude matte palette, which I believe is a completely matte palette, and the other one is a nude neutral palette. I didn't try those out because this one was specifically the #1 best-selling and top rated with the most stars. But if you are someone who have tried the other palettes, let me know in the comments down below how they work, what you think of them, or even if you own this palette in specific, what do you think of it? How does it work for you? Let us know. We're all wondering. I'm gonna leave a link down below if you guys want to check this palette out, as well as the other colors that it comes in. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to connect with me on my other social media, those are linked down below for my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.